the world, and I'll be watching the whole show from here, Sue.
Thanks very much to Sonali and to Tinku. Yes, the games really need to be good, and the opening ceremony can often really kick-start that. Was that something that you enjoyed, Ian?
I wish I had more of an opportunity to enjoy the Commonwealth Games or indeed the Olympic Games opening ceremony, but given that I had to compete first day of competition, I always missed out on this. So I used to have to watch it back in, the village with some of the other athletes whilst everyone else was going out there and celebrating. But I think what we'll be looking for is a good opening and a good start, given that there's been so many bad kind of recollections of what's been going on in India, that we'd like to kick this off with a really positive start.
Yes, because Denise, we're hearing from a lot of the home athletes from the UK how good the conditions are there and the facilities, and they're enjoying the moment. And we've got to be positive. Everyone's talking about the negatives, and we have to, because they could emerge, but there's positives as well.
I think the opening ceremony really does signify that the games are underway, and all that negativity really has to go to bed. It's finished, and it's about the athletes, it's about the people that are competing and the competitions. These athletes have prepared very well for these games, and they want to get it going.
Yeah, and it does need to be successful, doesn't it? And there's often a lot of criticism about the Commonwealth Games and its future. It needs a good game.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, unfortunately, we've had so many top-class athletes I've pulled out of it, and it's kind of made that kind of negative effect and made the Commonwealth seem not as important as it used to be. It still is an important championships, and you'll see by the performances, hopefully, this week.
Well, of course, yeah, the headlines have been all about the difficulty in the build-up to these games, and a lot of pressure on the host city. Well, let's rejoin Sonali, who takes us through maybe 10 things you probably didn't know about the host city, Delhi.
Delhi is effectively several cities in one. The heart and lungs of the capital is New Delhi, which was designed by British architect Edwin Lutyens. Wide tree-lined streets and sprawling white bungalows are its key features. War Memorial India Gate, its most magnificent landmark. The city lies on the banks of the Yamuna, the largest tributary river of the Ganges. Now, you can find the occasional crocodile in there, but today its biggest threat is dengue mosquitoes. With a population of more than 16 million and more vehicles on the roads here than in Mumbai, Chennai and Calcutta combined, Delhi claims to be one of the greenest capitals in the world, with more than 20% of the city under forest and tree cover. Because Delhi has been the capital of several dynasties and empires down the ages, it's got more monuments belonging to different periods of history than any other Indian city. This is one of 1,300 of them. One of Delhi's most popular tourist attractions is Humayun's tomb, the mausoleum for the second Mughal emperor of India. Its mix of Persian architecture and indigenous building styles is said to have inspired the mighty Taj Mahal. Barack Obama carried a tiny charm of the Hindu god Hanuman for luck during his presidential campaign. Word of this reached the high priest of this Hanuman temple in Connaught Place, and by the time the election was over, Mr. Obama had been presented with an elaborate and specifically sanctified statue of the god from this very temple. Delhi's most powerful resident is Italian-born Sonia Gandhi. As leader of the largest party in the largest democracy in the world, she's actually one of the most powerful people on the planet. And that's despite giving up the role of Prime Minister for herself after controversy over her foreign origins. That's one of India's oldest cricket grounds, the Firozshah Kotla Stadium, which was established in 1883. Its very first test match was played in 1948, when a newly independent India took on the West Indies. The Indian capital's most famous export is Bollywood megastar Shah Rukh Khan, with a fan base of more than 3 billion worldwide. He's the global movie industry's most successful name. Despite India being famous for its food, Delhi doesn't really have a specific cuisine of its own. The vast array of dishes available here has been brought in by settlers from all over the country, and Delhi is the place where you can taste some of India's best street food.
making me very hungry there, but wonderful scenes, and I'm sure we'll get to know a lot more about the host city Delhi and indeed its people. But this afternoon it's all about the opening ceremony at the Nehru Stadium there, and Prince Charles, seen here arriving at the stadium. He's representing Her Majesty the Queen, the head of the Commonwealth, who can't be there. He will officially open the games. He is arriving there alongside the Duchess of Cornwall. So Prince Charles, along with the President of India, will be overseeing many of the ceremonies, what we'll see over the next few hours. So the opening ceremony just a few minutes away, about 10 minutes away, but Colin, you touched on it there a little bit about some of the stars who aren't going to be here, and particularly Usain Bolt. It's a big blow that he's chosen, in fact, quite a few of the Jamaicans not to come.
Yeah, I mean, he's a megastar in the sporting world itself, and for him not to be at a competition like this, you know, is very frustrating for the organisers, because they can use a lot of the promotional tools can be driven by this young man himself. So it's a massive disappointment, but you know, in the same breath, he kind of told people early enough to say that I'm not going to actually be there. So they were really warned that what his real agenda was. And it ended up being the right decision for him, because, you know, he struggled a lot with injury this year as well. So he's had a bad back, and this gives him his opportunity really just to sit back and, of course, let another Jamaican star perhaps come through.
Yeah, absolutely, as we saw before. But very disappointing, a late withdrawal was Phillips Adowu, who really wasn't happy about the sort of health and safety issues.
No, he wasn't happy. And I always urge that athletes have to make decisions for themselves. Now, we know, you know, Phillips is a great athlete, but he had to make the decision. He said that it was about his family. He was, fearful of the security, and he just said, no, I'm not into that. I would say that athletes like to compete. They ought to compete. I mean, I tried not to miss any competitions where possible, and you know, you can go on to regret these decisions later on in your career, that you train all these years to compete. That's what you ought to do.
Well, absolutely. But although the Games have been hit by sort of big name withdrawals and also the negative headlines, for the athletes who do go to Delhi, this is their moment to shine, because regardless of who's there, this is the competition is as fierce as ever, and the intensity of trying to get that gold is as intense as ever as well. So who will be the stars that we'll remember from Delhi 2010? Well, here's a few to look out for.
You don't know what it's been like. One of the best women in the world. You don't know what it's been like being someone like you.
That is one of the more amazing performances at these Paralympics. What a dive! What a dive!
You don't know what it's been like.
Rebecca Adlington, you are absolutely brilliant.
Someone like you. You don't know what it's been like being someone like you.
Oh, what a belter.
So as you can see, so much to look forward to over the next 11 days, and a lot to look forward to over the next few hours, because we will be live at the stadium for the opening ceremony, and our commentators are all ready in place. We can talk to them now. Hugh Edwards is alongside Steve Cram. Hugh, I'll start with you first. I mean, Sonali said not necessarily full just yet, but we're obviously looking forward to that. What can we expect? We're all sort of hoping for a bit of Bollywood. What can you tell us?
Well, let's start with the positives. You can't fault the welcome. You can't fault the energy or the enthusiasm. It's all here. It's not quite full yet. You're quite right. I think people are a little slow coming in. Dreadful problems with security outside. It's a little slow for people to get in, but I think we'll see a full house. It's going to be a bit of a pageant of Indian culture. It's got to be a good show, as you say, to get rid of some of the bad headlines of the last few weeks. I have to say, behind the scenes, it's a bit shambolic, a bit chaotic, but they have put on a very good show tonight. I think people at home will enjoy it.
Well, we're hearing that from Hugh. How tough is it for the athletes, Crammy?
Well, I think, Sue, you mentioned yourself, you've heard that quite a few of them, I think, have been a little surprised when they got here, certainly in terms of the standard of the accommodation. They've been very pleased about that. Those who've had the chance to go to some of the venues to train, I know they think the pool's pretty good. I think it's just the surrounding areas, but I think athletes actually don't even look at that. Once they're in the arena, that's all they care about. Conditions are, as you'd expect if you're coming to Delhi, it's warm, the humidity's actually been dropping since the monsoons have gone away. So I don't think there are any surprises for the athletes. I think for most of them, they just want to get on with it. And let's not forget, actually, there's a lot of home country athletes not here yet. Most of the track and field English teams certainly are in Doha trying to prepare for Delhi, and a lot will be just coming in a couple of days before they actually compete.
Okay, Steve, Hugh, thank you very much. We'll be back with you very shortly. And Steve, in fact, the Commonwealth Games was a launch pad for his career as well, just as it was for Denise. In fact, winning the Commonwealth gold really is a dream for every athlete. But as far as the host nation is concerned, India, this could be a life-changing experience, because in India, sports stars are megastars. So who will be able to deal with that pressure and extra expectation? These are the ones we'll be looking out for.
Leading India's hunt for medals will be hotshot Abhinav Bindra, the country's first and only individual Olympic gold medalist. Winning the 10-metre air rifle in Beijing turned the Punjabi shooter into a national hero. The whole country is counting on him to hit the bullseye again. The most photographed member of Team India is likely to be tennis star Sania Mirza, whose wedding to Pakistani cricketer Shoaib Malik earlier this year gripped the nation. Less gripping has been her singles ranking, but being 131 in the world won't prevent her being a big draw.
Better execution of the no-pace ball this time.
Favourites in the men's doubles are tennis legends Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi. Having won 3 Grand Slam titles together, the duo were once ranked #1 in the world before an acrimonious split. Luckily for the home crowd, when their country calls, the two A-listers always answer, and they're back together for Delhi. Also grappling for gold will be wrestler Sushil Kumar, who took home a bronze from Beijing. He's just become world champion in the 66-kilogram freestyle, a big boost to a sport that was rocked by a doping scandal just a few weeks ago.
3, 2, 1, start.
Pistol King Samaresh Jung's 5 gold medals led India's performance in Melbourne and earned him the nickname Goldfinger. No chance of being that trigger-happy in his own backyard. Jung's only qualified for the standard pistol at these games. After winning the nation's first boxing medal at the Olympics in Beijing, India's poster boy of the sport is Vijendra Singh. He's in good form and looks ready to go one better than his silver at the last games. And another strong contender for a gold medal is the face of Indian badminton, Saina Nehwal.
That's a brilliant performance. Extraordinary day for the 16-year-old. Nobody had ever heard of her this morning.
With the sports powerhouse China not in the Commonwealth, it'll be quite a surprise if the world number 3 doesn't take the top spot on the Delhi podium.
Well, they'll certainly be hoping to add to their medal tally, and this is the tally over the last 80 years. You see India in 7th place, and I'd say they're hoping to improve it just ahead of your home nation. Colin doesn't look too impressed with that, but up we go. England is in 2nd place, and Australia top the medal table. And Ian, you didn't even know that.
I didn't know. I assumed. I actually assumed that we may have been in 2nd place, but I'm quite smug that we're winning now.
And you're probably going to be quite smug when the swimming starts as well, because you've just got an awesome team, haven't you?
We do. I mean, it's a very good team for us. It's not, it's not the best team that we've ever had. I'll put that out there. We've got a couple of competitors that won't be in the team. But I must insist that, some of the competing nations against us, we actually have quite a tussle on our hands. The English team is quite strong, as is the Scottish team. So it won't just all go our way at these Commonwealth Games.
We talk about Launchpad, though. Do you think Emily Seaburn will, she's going, 6 events?
Yes, I think this will be a very good Commonwealth Games for her. She's become a little bit of the darling of the Australian swim team at the moment. Given that she's so young, I think she could be very successful at these games. And, you know, there's some of, you know, our older swimmers as well that should pick up some good results.
And just briefly, Colin, also before we go to the opening ceremony, it's important for the home nations, you know, who's there to really shine. Who do you see particularly as far as the athletics are concerned?
Well, you know, we're all in Wales certainly looking at someone like Di Green to go out there and